Welcome everybody. The video I'm gonna make is a tough video to make because I'll be talking about stuff that I don't really talk about much with anybody, so kind of nervous and all that. I got some notes here to keep me on track, but so I'm gonna talk a little bit about some of the mental health struggles that I deal with on a daily basis that, like I said earlier, not many people actually know about. So I do struggle with depression, and there is, well, it's I'd say a mild depression, but most of the time it's manageable, and I've had that for, well, ever since I was born, I guess. And that's also probably tied into the disability that I deal with on a daily basis. While I'm not 100% sure, like, I know it's like a learning disability, but I think there's also something else there that that the name's just not coming to my head, but it was basically caused by my birth parents. So yeah, some people know that I'm actually adopted, and it's not something I like to talk about, because honestly I don't feel that's something that somebody should define me by. And yeah, my birth parents actually were substance abusers, and yeah, and that definitely contributed to the mental health issues that I have today. So almost 29 years later, I guess you could say. So, but throughout elementary school, I always felt like people were judging me, and it wasn't very good for my self-esteem and stuff like that. And it got worse in high school. For a while, I was, I guess, hanging out with people that I knew from elementary school, but at the same time I felt like they were also psychologically bullying me in a way, and this caused me to retreat into myself and basically be alone. Not really having many friends. I went from one friend to the next, and I never really had more than one friend at a time, and it was hard. So it did change when I got to college, but a lot of those issues still continued on. I should also mention that not everybody that I knew in elementary school was actually a bully to me. There's a couple that actually maintain there's a few that kind of maintain contact, but it's infrequent. But and also in high school, I should note that it certainly didn't help when my crush at the time, when she found out when I was at my cousin's house, she basically laughed in my face. And like, I don't think anybody ever realized, anybody that was there at least, realized how much that actually hurt, and kind of still hurts a little bit to this day. And one of my classmates from elementary school, I know in high school, I forget what it was, maybe it wasn't high school, but I've always remembered this moment where somebody else from elementary school had said something and I overheard it, and he basically asked this other guy, who is still my friend to this day, he asked him why he was friends with me. Sorry. And I don't remember my friend's actual response to it, but I just know that he kind of defended me, and that really surprised me, and I never really had a chance to have an opportunity to thank him. But I'll get to that in a bit. So when I started studying film, I felt I was actually accepted a lot more, and a lot of the friends I made during that time are still my friends to this day, and some of them even know a lot about these issues that I deal with on a daily basis, and some of them even actually reach out to check in every now and again, and it definitely really means a lot that they do that. But I still feel like I'm not accepted. It's a weird feeling, knowing I'm accepted, but at the same time not really feeling like I'm accepted by anybody. And I'm sure there's a lot of people that can say the same. And yeah, I used to take medication for like the depression and all the mental health issues, and even for my disability, but over time it felt like that was kind of like holding me back in a way. So throughout the years, I found various things that actually have helped me cope with it. Definitely talking about it more to somebody who actually truly understands what I'm going through, and doesn't make any of their own judgments, and making me feel like what I struggle with is invalid. So I don't really open up much to people, but when I start to open up, I kind of do get scared that I'm gonna push them away and lose them. And it's definitely happened a few times where I've felt really comfortable with somebody and opened up, and then they make assumptions, and then they decide to distance themselves. But I do have a strong network of friends, I guess you could say, that actually truly understand, and they don't make judgments, and I really appreciate it. They all know who they are. I'm not going to mention names, but some of the things that actually help me cope with everything on a daily basis is, like I said earlier, talking to somebody and filming videos. So there was a period of time within the last couple of months where I was, you could say, fighting a losing battle with my inner demons, and it got to the point where it did push somebody that I was starting to open up to away from me. And yeah, and that really hurt. But in the back of my mind, I always had a plan to get back into filming, no matter what, like filming reviews, because I want to be able to do this full time. And the series that ended up happening was the last series called Love Hurts, and I felt that not only did that help me cope with like my mental health and stuff, because I was doing something that I love to do, but it did help me cope with the loss of a really good friend who I probably won't be given the opportunity to make amends and be friends with again, and I have since accepted that, and I'm very happy where my, I guess you could say, career is going and the state my mental health is in, even though this is a very hard video to actually make and talk about all this stuff. And yeah, and another thing that has helped is actually having an editor to help me out with the series, and yeah, it just alleviates some of the stress that I put myself through to do some of these videos. Like, it takes a lot to do daily uploads, and I struggled with it in October of last year. I put too much stress on myself, but I powered through it and decided to do it again 2 months later. And that one fell in, like, in the middle of my, like, the big well, the last depression period that I had, and I only ended up getting 7 videos out that month, and it was supposed to be a lot more. Like, I couldn't even, it got so bad I couldn't even watch horror movies or movies in general, which do help me cope with all this, especially horror movies. I feel comfort in watching horror movies because the characters are, I feel a connection because they're isolated, and I often feel like I'm isolated from everybody else. So when I come across a really good one, it's almost a moment of, I guess the term is euphoria. I think I said that right. After watching it, where my mind is just completely clear, and it's a great feeling to have. It doesn't happen very often, but yeah. And like, after doing the daily uploads in October, I realized that I do have the potential to be a YouTuber that puts themselves through stress like this, and I'm in a position where I've actually figured out ways that I can do daily uploads, and it's not as stressful, and my editor has really helped me out a lot with that. So yeah. But yeah, like, oftentimes I try to get people to open up to talk about these things, because I know from experience how much it would help them, but oftentimes I'm not given the same opportunity with some of these people, and that's also probably why I had a really bad couple of months mental health wise, with the losing battle with my own inner demons. And I also overthink a lot, and that's definitely a common thing for people, and I try my absolute best to move past, or like overcome overthinking, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So like, I'm not sure what else I could talk about. Nothing's really coming to mind right now, but yeah. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah, part of the reason why I've chosen to do like YouTube is because of the flexibility it's giving my mental health. I did go to film school, and after going through like the stress of film school, a new relationship, and everything all at once, I came to the realization that I don't think I could actually cut it in the film industry per se, but with these with YouTube, I could do like one video, and then once I do that video, that's it. I don't have to focus on it for like 6 months consistently. It could be like a day of filming and then a day of editing, and then the video's done. And that freedom really works well with me because I can't really focus on big stressful projects as much as other people can because of my disability and mental health issues. But YouTube allows me to do what I love, and it also will give me a platform to hopefully inspire others. And that's basically my entire goal with YouTube, is to be able to make a difference and make sure that people don't really feel the same way that I felt growing up. So like this past year has been mainly me pushing through stuff that I wasn't really comfortable with doing before, and me like just doing stuff that was outside of the box from what people would normally think of me doing, and stuff like that. Stuff I never thought I'd be able to do. And part of that is actually being in front of the camera as opposed to being behind. And I do actually have one person to thank for being supportive enough and pushing me to be basically very encouraging for me to be in front of the camera. And that was I won't say her name, but we did a budget challenge video together, and that was also the video that I could see the potential in me being in front of the camera, and I couldn't have done it without her encouragement. So huge thanks to her in always trying to get me to come out of my shell when we were together, even though I won't get into it, but I thank her for that. And yeah, and one of my film friends has said that me forcing myself in front of the camera is also helping me become comfortable being in front of the camera. Like, hopefully I get to the point where I'm energetic when doing reviews and stuff, like some of the other YouTubers and stuff like that. But yeah, and like, if anybody watching this is going through anything, I highly encourage you to like reach out and talk to a friend about it. I don't mind being that friend, even if I don't really know you, but just don't want people to feel the way that I felt growing up, being isolated, alone, unaccepted by anybody, even the people that you thought were friends, and grew up with, and yeah. So and part of what gave me the motivation to do this video officially, I guess you could say, was a mini anxiety attack I had a few days ago, and I reached out to a couple people about it, and yeah, it was about the friend I lost, but I think I'm doing fairly well right now. So, and I feel like I don't feel ashamed to talk about all these things, because it's a part of what makes me me, and yeah, there's probably going to be some people that feel uncomfortable with everything I've said, and you know, that's fine. They're probably not ready to talk about these kind of things as openly as I have. And this was a really hard thing for me to actually do, but I felt I absolutely needed to do this. And it's also why there's not going to be any editing done to this clip. It's just going to show the raw emotion of everything I go through, and yeah, I'm not really sure how to actually end off a video like this, other than, like, if you need somebody to talk to, feel free to reach out, and I'll do my best to help you out, be somebody to talk to, because I was never given that opportunity growing up, by somebody other than my family, pretty much. So, and even then I didn't really talk about it with any of them. So hopefully this video inspires others to be more open about this, and to feel comfortable and not ashamed to talk about the topic of mental health. So thank you for watching this very tough video, and yeah.